Hello, today I'm going to show you how to replace the screen in your laptop. For me, this is going to be an MSI laptop. The model number is GP62MVR 7RFX Leopard Pro, but many MSI laptops have the same case and design, and your screen replacement for an MSI laptop will probably be very similar. You're going to need a few tools to replace your screen. First of all, you're going to need a small Phillips head screwdriver for all the screws. You're going to need a spudging tool, either a tool designed specifically to pry the plastic part with these plastic clips around the edge of your screen, or something like a credit card or a used gift card can also work to do that same job. You're obviously going to need your laptop handy. You're going to want your replacement screen that you've ordered from a website such as laptopscreens.com, and you'll want to have your laptop's charger handy, I've found. Before I get started here, I just wanted to show you why I'm replacing my laptop screen. You might repair or replace your laptop screen because you may have dropped it and damaged the screen, or it broke, or maybe burned out or went bad in some way. I'm actually replacing the screen on this laptop because the screen that comes with the laptop is not particularly great. It's somewhat washed out, and the worst thing is that the viewing angles, especially the vertical viewing angles, as you can see, are pretty bad, especially as you lean it away from you. Okay, to replace the laptop screen, the first thing we're going to need to do is remove all sources of power. It's easy to do with the power cord, but we're also going to need to remove the battery in order to prevent any sort of sparking or any issues disconnecting the screen connector. On this laptop, unfortunately, because it has an internal battery, that's going to mean taking the bottom off and removing the battery by unscrewing it. So to start out, take your screwdriver, and we're going to have to remove all of these screws around the rim of the laptop. And then in addition, there's one screw right here underneath a void if removed sticker that we'll need to remove to take the bottom off. One of the things I recommend as you're unscrewing a piece of electronics such as a laptop is placing the screws in an arrangement similar to the pattern that they came off, so that you can be sure that you put the screws individually back into the location from which each came, to make sure that the screws are the same length, same size, and thread easily and properly. Once you have all the screws removed, you're going to need to pry the bottom shell of the case off of the laptop. There are some plastic clips also holding it down around the edges, and the spudging tool will come in handy to help you remove it as well. In particular, the case will stick around the headphone and microphone jacks on the lower right side, and so you're probably going to want to remove the case around the left side first. Once the case bottom is off, it should be pretty easy. Locate the battery in the rear here. There's a single screw that holds that battery in. We simply unscrew it, set that aside separately, and then carefully unplug and pull the battery out. Okay, now that this is done, we are ready to work on the laptop screen. You're going to want to start with your spudging tool, and start at the top of the laptop and begin to separate the plastic clips that hold essentially the front side of the laptop bezel to the back. As you run the spudger along, you'll find pressure. Just slowly apply force till the plastic clips come out. As you get down to the bottom side of the laptop screen, the screen that comes with the MSI has a piece of essentially double stick tape running along the bottom edge of the screen. As you get in here, you will need to probably use the spudging tool to separate this tape from the front of the laptop because it is typically stuck with some force to the actual foil that lines the bottom edge of the screen. Once you've removed the front screen bezel, you can set that aside. We're now going to go ahead and remove this. The first thing you want to do is there are some conductive pieces of tape that essentially will ground the screen mounting brackets to the rest of the laptop. You'll want to peel those back, but keep them stuck to the metal parts of the laptop frame if you can. Now there are 4 screws that we're going to need to remove here and here in order to remove the screen off of the back of the laptop. We will set those aside separately from the screws that we took out of the bottom to remove the battery. Okay, once that's done, you can easily remove the screen off of the back of the laptop. You're going to want to fold it down forward onto the keyboard because we're going to need to detach the 30-pin connector. There's a piece of tape that sort of holds it in place that will be stuck to the back side of the screen. You're going to want to pry that off carefully. Once you've done that, just apply even force across the connector and kind of wiggle it out. It should come freely just by friction. And there we have the old laptop screen removed. Go ahead and set that aside. Now take the new laptop screen. Okay, now we more or less reverse the process that we used to remove the screen. The first step that we're going to do is attach that 30-pin cable. So we'll set the new screen on the keyboard. Carefully line up the cable. Press it in. And if the connection looks secure there, go ahead and put the tape down to help hold that connector in place. Then we can go ahead and flip the screen back up and sort of place it in the frame. Go ahead and temporarily secure those conductive pieces of tape. What I'd like to do at this point is test the screen to make sure everything's working properly before we actually screw everything back down and put it together, in case there's something that might be wrong with the new screen. At this point we can pretty quickly take it back out and reverse the process, putting the original screen back in. So at this point it's the moment of truth. If everything worked correctly, the screen should light up. So go ahead and shut down the computer properly. And once the computer is powered off, we'll want to detach the power again, just to stay safe. Okay, from here, again, we continue to reverse the process of taking the laptop apart. So you might go ahead and pry off that conductive piece of tape. This one's got a hole in it for the screw, so that'll work. Go ahead and grab the screws from the proper position from the sort of layout that you laid them out in to put them back in the hole that they came from. At this point, you may want to try to replace the piece of double stick tape that went across the bottom part of the screen. I'm going to go ahead and forego that. Now we go ahead and put the bezel back on. Gently but firmly press along the edge of the bezel to find those plastic clips and reattach them. And then we'll come up the sides, and then finally back across the top edge. Okay, from here, we'll go ahead and put the battery back in, and then reattach the bottom cover. As you flip the laptop over, you might see that those speakers will come loose. Just go ahead and reposition those. The battery back in position and secure the single screw that holds that down. And then finally, we'll put the case back on. We'll come in from the right side, making sure those headphone jacks and that USB-C line up properly. And then we'll press it down over to the left, and then kind of press in the sort of plastic clasping mechanisms around. Once you're relatively sure that's mostly done, we can screw it down. The screws should push any clips that we missed back together again. And don't forget that final center screw. Give everything a nice courtesy squeeze around the edge. Make sure everything's snapped together. One thing that you may notice after you've taken the battery out is the laptop will refuse to turn on until you power it from AC power. I don't know if this is part of the power protected circuitry or some other logic in it. However, once you plug the laptop in, the laptop will turn on, it will re-recognize the battery, and everything will work correctly from there. And there you've done it. You've just replaced your laptop screen. Just to give you an idea of the difference of the screen, you can see that this IPS display does not show anywhere near the color shifting along the vertical viewing angle that the screen that came with the laptop does. The difference is really night and day. In addition, you can kind of see that the colors are more poppy and the screen generally looks a lot less washed out. It's a very much higher quality screen available, and I highly recommend this upgrade.